You always dream about the call, right? But I tell people, it's like all of a sudden when you realize, oh, I'm going to be out there playing in front of 45,000 tomorrow night versus the Cubs, like, I got to get ready too.
Maybe we could start with, you were the Sports Illustrated cover star for August 29th, 2005. You had done the photo shoot beforehand and you'd done the interview, but did you know that it was going to be the cover?
So I think the coolest thing for me was not knowing I was going to be on the cover. I knew it was a 50-50 chance. I'll never forget, we did the photo shoot. It was a beautiful day in Atlanta. I remember we did it in the outfield at Turner Field. And I purposely had them do it early in the morning. They wanted to kind of do it like from 12 to 3 because we had a game that night when we did it. But I didn't want any of the guys seeing me.
Michael Farber did interview your teammates, so they knew that a story was
They
coming.
knew a story was coming out, and I didn't tell them that there was a chance it was going to be on the cover. That was the last thing I was going to do, was give them more ammo to come at me. But I'll never forget, we were in Chicago playing the Cubs, and our PR guy, Brad Hange, came behind me and threw like 30 of them right on the table. And I was like, I was 21 years old. And so like Chipper, and none of them had ever been on Sports Illustrated, right?
Sure.
They're Hall of Fame guys.
Right.
And I was sitting there and they just wore me out. I mean, I took it. And then the worst part was that was my first time ever facing Carlos Zambrano that night. And he struck me out 3 times. So I come in and of course they hung him up in the shower, and just wore me out. But it still is one of the greatest honors of my life. You always dream about the call, right? But I tell people, it's like all of a sudden when you realize, oh, I'm going to be out there playing in front of 45,000 tomorrow night versus the Cubs, like, I got to get ready too. It happened so quick. Like here I am in AA, and 7 weeks later, I'm on the front of Sports Illustrated.
So that's really cool. Do you think your parents bought out like the local CBS?
Oh, I know they did. I'll tell you who did. My 2 grandmas, my one grandma was up in Boston. I remember she went to every store. She was telling all the people, that's my grandson, so it was such a cool moment.
You mentioned that you were a big SI fan as a kid, running to the mailbox every week. Were there any other covers that were important to you?
I grew up on Sports Illustrated. I got to read everyone except the swimsuit issue because my mom would take that away from me. I always loved the ones after the Super Bowl. I had one growing up with Hammer and Hank because, my dad grew up in Atlanta, man. So it was like, I just heard stories about it my whole life. And I had it actually over my bed, and I still have it down in my basement now. I still pinch myself because I literally got to hang out with this guy like 4 days a week. He'd come to the field, come in the locker room. He's the most down-to-earth human being you've ever met. And he's still the true home run king.
Why do you think that cover matters and still matters so much to you?
Every pro athlete, every, actor that's a huge sports, they all read Sports Illustrated. So for me, it was kind of like, man, I've made it. Obviously, times have changed now, but that was how everybody got their info. I guess it would be like People magazine for a movie star, right? Like, my wife doesn't let me keep a lot of that crap out, but that's the one piece I have to have. In my room, I have this cover, and then I have my jersey from the Rangers from the World Series in 2010.
So that's in pretty good company, the cover and the World Series. Those
It is. Those are the 2 things I wanted. One kind of like the big team goal, and then one for me personally, just a great time in my life. At the Braves Stadium, right behind our booth on the wall, it's hanging. And actually, it wasn't purposely there.
Sure.
They have it up there where all the Sports Illustrated that Braves have been on covers. And so it was like, Hammer and Hank, Hammer and Hank, Hammer and Hank, and then Murph and all those guys, Smoltz and Glavine. And then there I was, and it just happens to be right behind our booth. But for me, it's something that I think will go on forever because of how big Sports Illustrated was. And still, to this day, there's so many people that collect these. So I wouldn't be surprised walking in Yankee Stadium, to do a game, you get 4 or 5 people to have you sign these.
Thank you so much. This was great.
It was so good to rehash this today. And 20 years ago, this honestly changed my life. And to think it was 20 years ago, I look at that guy now and I'm like, I'm maybe a little older and a little wiser, but still the same dude.